Hey guys, it's me, Shamama. I am going live. I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes to see if anybody comes into the room and wants to chat about the karmic mother dynamic. I thought it would be something cool that I could share with you guys. And while I'm gonna wait and see if anybody pops in to join, just a few minutes, I'm going to try to go to my YouTube studio and figure out how to get this onto my laptop so I can see if you guys have comments or anything. Hang on, let's see, how does this work? Let's go to that. All right, let's see, on my mobile. Let me click that. Now that should let me watch it. Will it let me watch it? So I can see the fuck is, does that work? Hey, I have 5 people. Hey guys. Hey, I'm just trying to figure out how the fuck to get this on and onto my laptop and my phone at the same time. Thank you guys for being here. Crap, how the hell do I do this? I forgot. It's been a long time. Go ahead and put in the chat, you guys, like who's here and what the heck's going on, and say hi. Say hi. Here we go. Okay, wait, I got it. I got it. Now I gotta cover up the computer screen. And I think that the chat will show up. If you guys can let me know if you hear and see me okay. And I know I'm moving shit around, so I apologize. Hello, everybody. Okay, let me close this. Lily. Hi, Lily. How are you, darling? Thank you for being here. All right. So we've got like 6 people in the room, which is totally cool. So yeah, hi, everybody. It's been a while since I've been on. Honestly, the inspiration really has to hit me to do a video these days. Like, I can't just come on and talk a bunch of fluff and bullshit. So it's like, when the inspiration hits, so here I am. And I've been wanting to do more interactive stuff with you guys. Hey, Melissa, how are you, darling? Thank you for being here, babe. So when the inspiration hits, it's time to do it, right? So many of you know and are familiar. Well, let me thank you guys all for being here, and forever who's tuning in later or whatever. Thank you. I always appreciate you guys supporting me and checking out what we're talking about and being involved. Good. I'm glad you're doing good, Melissa. Yay. So I wanted to talk today about the karmic mother dynamic. Okay. Now, many of you guys know, who have been here with me for many of years. It's actually, we're going on 7 years in May. So I can't fucking believe it. And we're still doing this, right? But you've heard bits and pieces of my story about my relationship with my folks, and not like unlike anybody else's stories, right? We've all had these issues, challenges to overcome from our childhood wounds that are related to our folks in whatever way, shape, or form. Not everybody's are the same, obviously, but we all go through pretty similar patterns and core wounding related to our folks, right? So this video, we're going to focus on the mother wound, because that's the most prevalent thing that has been coming up for me lately. And if it's coming up for me, it potentially is coming up for the rest of you guys, right? Because that's usually how this works. I lit some Palo Santos incense, so I just want to kind of clear the space for us and get us all in a really good headspace, and have us be open to, listening, sharing, receiving the messages. All right, so let's see, where do I want to start? I always have trouble starting, you guys. So like I said, many of you are familiar with the dynamics of the situation with my mom and her living with me. And she and I had a very challenging relationship growing up. Although most of what most of the challenges I was aware of, but not completely consciously aware of until much later in my life, in my awakening stage of understanding the actual fucked up nature of the relationship I had with her. So mom is incredibly codependent. At the same time, mom also carries a lot of narcissistic, again, behaviors. And in her codependent state growing up, she was always doing and running and focused on other people and taking care of them before taking care of me as her child. And because I was always the good kid, the only kid, but the quiet one, the one that never really got into trouble, was seen and not heard, yada, yada, yada. We know all about that kind of behavior, right? And so my relationship was very, with my mom, she was very codependent on having to do things for everybody else. And always having to feel needed by other people. And I guess that was part of the dynamic, was because I was a good kid, because I stayed out of trouble, and the reasons I didn't stay out of trouble, I just didn't get caught getting into trouble. But on the surface, it looked like I was staying out of trouble because my mom was always so busy with everything else that she didn't really pay attention to what was going on with me. And I was never one to speak up because of all of my other histories and traumas. Lily, similar situation with your mom. So, and my relationship with my mother was, I never really trusted her. She was the one who would be, when your father gets home, when I did get in trouble, and the things I got in trouble for were not major, but like, it was always one of those, when your father gets home, and my father used to beat the crap out of me. So how do you trust a person who's meant to take care of you when they're offering you up to another person who's abusing you? Okay. Anyway, see, I get so emotional, but you get what I'm saying. So there was never a level of trust. There was never a going to tell my mom something because whatever, because the consequences were fucking ridiculous. So I kept to myself. I did my thing, whatever. And through my relationship with her, through all of the years, I was always the one having to caretake for her. I was always the one who, when my mother got into a situation, was the one who had to bail her out, had to take care of her. So, and I say this as young as being a child, up through my teenage years, up through being married in my first marriage. That has been the dynamic. Like, she has never been the one to step up necessarily for me, unless there has been a, what do I want to say? Unless there has been something for her to get out of it. Let's put it that way. If she can look good out of the situation, if she can use the situation to her advantage, then it's a dynamic where it worked for her and she would step up. But it was never from a place of wanting to step up for me. There was always this other level to it. And throughout the years, like I said, I was always the one taking care of my mom. And many of you know my mother now lives with me, right? So back in 2019, my mother was met, as some of you know, and I'll just recap briefly, with losing her home. Okay. Needless to say, the bank we did a short sale. She came out with nothing, blah, 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 blah. And at that time, I was also going through, my own major transformation. I was selling my home that I had raised my kids in, that I had bought after my divorce and had raised my kids in for all this time. Like, it was time for the nest to be empty. I was getting rid of my big house. I had never been on my own before. And it was super important for me at that time to do this step, you know, on my own, to not have to be responsible for taking care of anybody else. And at the time, my mom losing her house, was supposed to go live with her brother and yada yada. And I've talked about all of this shit, and it got really fucked up. And just a month or two after she had, or a couple months after she had moved in with her brother, that whole situation blew up. And my mother found herself in a situation where I wasn't having her come live with me. I wasn't in my own healthy space. I was transitioning into my own new dynamic, and I was not. And I'm not saying could not, because I could have taken her in, and I could have at that time given up important pieces of my journey in order for her to have a place to live. And I made a conscious choice that many of you know, to not have my mother come live with me. And my mother was basically living in her car for about 18 months. At that time, I had tons of guilt, tons of shame, tons of guilt, but I also knew it was important for me. Okay, it was super important for me to do what I needed to do for myself. For the first time in my life, no kids at home, no anybody, no partners, no significant others. It was just me moving forward with my life. It was my chance to start over and to not have to take care of anybody but myself, which was always a struggle for me, of course, being raised with a codependent mom. I always took care of everybody. And again, so many of you know this scenario, right? You've been through it yourselves in one way, shape, or form. So fast forward, what year was it? 2021 of April. My mother, and we had been in contact while she was living in her car, whatever. I mean, that we saw each other. We did we visited, she would come over, I would cook, things like that. I didn't cut my mother out of my life completely, but it just wasn't going to be possible. I just chose not to have her live with me. So in April of 2021, my mother, was involved in a car accident with her vehicle. Someone had hit her car and it needed to be repaired. And she was unable to then continue to live in it if it needed to be repaired. So at that time, I did agree to have my mother come and stay with me, okay? Which was a big fucking deal, right? It literally felt like a noose around my neck. Like I knew what I was in for, put it that way. But I also knew that it was time to heal the relationship, clear the karma between her and I. By this point, I had already understood so much about the dynamics that had gone on through my whole life that I never really noticed or witnessed until awakening and understanding all of the things that we have learned, right? So she comes and lives with me, and it's super rough. And, you guys know, she started to do some real progress over the first couple months that she was with me, and was starting to kind of understand just basically what I was doing as far as Shamama and the spiritual work, because there was never any understanding about any of this hoodoo, voodoo, whatever you want to fucking call it, light worker, healing, psychic, reading cards, energy work, blah, 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 plant medicine. Even though she had known about it, she never understood what any of that was or what any of it meant. So this was her first chance to really be fully submerged into my world. This is my world. It's my house, right? Kind of like when we were kids, right? You lived in your parents' roof, you follow their rules. Well, now the shoe was on the other foot. And there was a lot of fucking challenges to overcome just in understanding that dynamic, right? Just processing what it's like to be the adult child, the adult me, and now having again to help my mother, but not in a codependent way, not in a way that sacrifices me, myself, and I for the good of anybody else. And like I said, she started doing really, really well when she first came with me. Started understanding, started opening up. And for those of you who remember, a few months later, the universe literally like created an event, a tower moment. My mother had fallen and gotten severe, like badly hurt. And so it took her back out of the house for a while, right? It took her to the hospital. It took her into surgeries. It took her into rehab centers for the course of another few months. And literally it was like her soul's way of saying like she couldn't do the work. She wasn't ready. It was too much for her to be here. So boom, this catastrophic event happens and she leaves again, and she's in and out and back and forth and not doing well and back in the hospital and so on and so forth for several months. So needless to say, through all of this and all of this time, now we're in 2023, the dynamic mom is still here living with me. As you guys know, we've had to move multiple times. It's been incredibly difficult. She doesn't work. She doesn't get, a whole hell of a lot in Social Security, and what she does barely pays for her medicines every month. So there's no contribution really happening, and I am responsible for everything, right? I'm responsible for everything again, which I'm okay with. I don't love it, but I understand it and I'm okay with that. It's part of my journey. It's part of my process. Do I resent it sometimes? Most definitely. Because I wouldn't necessarily be in the financial situation that I am right now, which many of you know I'm having some major shit going on with that. I wouldn't be in this situation if she wasn't here, right? Like I would have been able to do things and make different choices. But again, I'm not turning my back. I understand there's things to clear. So up until recently, mom has had this incessant need to push my boundaries, okay? Pushing my boundaries in ways of, for example, I like to do things the way I like to do them. Food has been a huge issue for me in my journey and getting back into my body, right? And being able to take care of myself and to do things that are for me. And so mom likes to do things like at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, she likes to do one of these, what do you want for dinner tonight? And I'm like, Mom, and I've told her a million fucking times, right? I have a very delicate relationship with food. 8 o'clock in the morning is not the time to ask me what I want to do for dinner. And I don't necessarily want you to cook. Like, I don't need a mommy. And this is the dynamic that I'm trying to come around to, which I'm going a really long way around to get to this. And what I'm finding is my mother is now focusing her codependence on me and trying to make up for things from the past by trying to take care of me and be my mommy now, which I don't want and I do not need. I'm a grown-ass fucking woman most of the time. And I can take care of myself, and I don't want someone asking me at 8 a.m. when I just roll my ass out of bed what I want to eat for dinner that night. And I don't want to like have the expectations of she's going to go to the grocery store and what do I need? I appreciate and value that. But again, it's the dynamics of she likes to do it in the times where I've made it very clear that those are not the times to talk to me about food. Those are not the times to focus on these types of things, right? So anyway, I have multiple times attempted setting boundaries, explaining over and over and over and over again, like, hey, Mom, I really appreciate that you want to talk about what's for dinner. This is not the time. If we're going to discuss dinner, let's wait till the afternoon, or let's talk about it the night before and make a plan. But 8 a.m., 7:30 in the morning, don't fucking talk to me about food. I've asked her this a billion times. So it doesn't sink in. It doesn't sink in. It doesn't sink in. So finally, I sit down with my mother, I want to say like a couple weeks ago. And I explained to her in the sweetest and kindest of ways that I don't understand why she can't respect my request to stop the question, because it was constant. It was fucking constant, you guys. And like, I would be like, Mom, we just fucking talked about this like 2 days ago. Why are you doing this to me? Like, why? So, like, you know, this is how spirit works, right? We keep getting these challenges brought in front of us, right? Until we clear it. So I sat down with her in the most loving way possible. And I'm like, look, I need to fucking understand, like, what goes on in your head? What are you thinking when I tell you every fucking day, this is not the time or the place, and you continue to do this? And she met me with lots of defensiveness and lots of, well, it's not my fault because I'm up really early, and 8 a.m. and 7:30 and 8 a.m. for me is like the middle of the day, and I'm ready to do da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, but I'm not. And you need to respect that. Otherwise, we're going to continue having this problem, and I'm going to continue getting angry and frustrated and like just not fucking talk to you and not come out of my fucking room, which is not fair, and it's bullshit, right? Because it's my fucking house. And I should feel comfortable and free to live in my house the way I need to, right? So what comes out of this whole conversation with my mother is the fact that Mom doesn't feel needed. Mom expressed to me that she needs me to need her in order for her to feel good about herself. Now, whoa! First of all, this was a huge, massive, like, revelation for my mother to even, like, say. Okay? And I could feel, like, in the dynamic with my mom, as I was explaining, like, I always feel this very heavy weight. Like, she's always, like, here, like, claws in my back, hovering, always trying to pull on me, my energy. And it feels, I mean, I know I'm doing this with my hands because that's what it fucking feels like. It feels like claws in my back, constantly, like, in my shit, in my energy, with no space and no distance. And I just sat there and was like, wow. What a, first of all, I realized, like, that's the weight I was feeling, was her need to be needed. And she needed to be needed by me because I'm the only one left around her that can feed her codependent need to feel valuable, to feel good about herself through her forcing to take care of me. Does that make sense? Where am I going? Hang on. I kind of lost my thing. So this was a huge revelation. And since this revelation, I explained to my mother that is very codependent. Like, I explained what codependence meant, and I explained what a huge weight that is for me to carry, or to even put upon me, that her existence is contingent on feeling needed by me when I don't need a mommy. I don't no longer need a mommy. She is my mother, And being a mother is great, but I do not need a mommy to cook for me, to do the things that she's attempting to do for me. And it's not a lack of appreciation. It's seriously this heavy fucking burden and weight for her existence to mean something. And it has to come from me, which totally sucks. So we have continued to have this, this dynamic, even through the realization. And so how am I dealing with the dynamic? How am I dealing with my mother's, because she's still continuing to do these things. I continue to set boundaries. I continue to reiterate the things that I need to say. And what I've been doing is taking it even one step further, because so now the new dynamic, here's the next new dynamic that has come up since this, is my mother won't just take care of herself to take care of herself. So for me, if I want to eat something, and it revolves, a lot of this revolves around food, which is really interesting because as a kid, I was never, like, food was an issue. Food has still been an issue. But food was always, like, I wasn't allowed to snack between meals. There were days where I didn't eat lunch at school, and I wasn't allowed to eat anything until dinner time. So there's definitely this food dynamic that goes back to my childhood. So the new dynamic that is coming up, the new triggers that are coming up are, when I want food, I get what I want, right? If I want to order something, I go into my mother's room and I say, hey, I want this for lunch. I'm going to order from this place. Is there anything that you would like? If no, fine, great, cool. I still order my fucking food and get what I want, right? My mother, however, will not do the same. So I get from my mom, and this has been going on for the last 2 weeks now, she's been wanting Chinese food, okay? Now, if you want Chinese food, fucking order Chinese food. But she's making it my responsibility. She's putting it on me that she's not going to eat Chinese food until I'm ready or want or desire eating Chinese food. Now, I normally eat Chinese food. It's been like a month and a half, and I have no desire for Chinese food. And so my mother came to me like 2 weeks ago and said, hey, how about we order Chinese food for dinner? And I went, Mom, not really in the mood for Chinese, but please feel free, go ahead. I know what I want. I'm going to eat this, da-da-da-da-da. And you're welcome to have some of that, or just order what you want. No, never mind. I'll just not do it and we'll wait for another day. Okay, this has been going on for 2 fucking weeks now, that she will not get food for herself unless I say, yes, I want that too. And I said, and I finally didn't lose it the other day, but I finally sat down and said, look, this was, I think it was yesterday actually, or maybe the day before. She's been doing this like every other day. And I said, look, you need to do what's right for you, Mom. Right, it's such a damn energy drain. It totally is. And I said, look, do you not see what I do, Mom? If I want something to eat, I go ahead and I order what I want. And if you don't want it, that's fine. Like, I know you can take care of yourself. You know I can take care of myself. Do what you need to do for you. Well, lo and behold, it's so funny how the fucking universe works, right? So she did this again. She did this like 5 fucking times in the last 2 weeks, and I keep telling her the same shit. Like, order it if you want. I don't want any. Thank you, but no. And no, I'm not going to get it then. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Well, today. Today she messages me. She was out this morning. And she messages me and says, I'm stopping to get Chinese food on the way home. What do you want? I'm like, motherfucker, Jesus Christ. Like, what is it going to take for this to fucking penetrate? Like, I don't want Chinese. I'm not in the fucking mood for Chinese food lately. Like, it just isn't my thing. And I message her back and I say, thank you, Mom, but I'm not interested in eating Chinese food. Okay, I just get back on, okay. Now she's getting the hint, obviously. So she comes home 2 hours ago, an hour and a half ago, something like that. And she walks in the house and I say, hey, Mom, where's your Chinese food? And she says, I went and the restaurant is closed on Tuesdays. So once again, she did not get her Chinese food. And now she's pissed because she actually really wanted it. And now she didn't get it. And she wanted it from this one specific place. Anyway, so I tell you this whole big, long, drawn out, ridiculous story because these are the karmic dynamics that we are needing to navigate in our relationships with the people around us. For me specifically, it's my mom. Many of you have these similar dynamics with our parents where they want us. First of all, she really wants to be my mommy to make up for whatever was done in the past, which is not what I need. What I need from her is for her to take care of herself. Not me, herself. And that's the one thing she cannot do. And it's not that she can't do it, she chooses not to do it because she doesn't know how to do it. And so this is the learning curve. And the more I stick to my boundaries in the most loving of ways that I possibly can. Now, again, I lose my cool sometimes. It's frustrating and it's challenging and it's hard to tell people the same shit day in and day out and for it not to penetrate and them not to listen. And especially when they live in your house with you, right? But the learning curve is there. And at some point, the energy is going to shift. For me, it's shifted tremendously because I have taken my power back. I have made it clear that I am not going to just give in and say, yeah, Mom, okay, get Chinese food. You want it. I don't want it, but I'll eat it just to make you fucking happy. Take care of yourself and let me take care of myself. When I need something, I 110% will ask you for something I need. That's the other part of the challenge with my mother is that she doesn't feel needed and she needs to feel needed. But I'm a grown-up, independent, I've been taking care of myself. I am good as me on my own. I don't need someone to take care of me in that way, right? So the learning is happening. The shifting in the energy is happening. The more I keep taking this off of my back and dumping it lovingly back into her lap and saying, this is your issue, not mine. I give it back to you with love. And I literally say these things to her. And it confuses the fuck out of her, but I say it anyway. The better I'm physically doing. So for me, my issues with food, and you guys know I've struggled with my weight, being super, super underweight for a really fucking long time. And up until recently, literally, I would say maybe the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe, my appetite has come back tremendously. I have put on, I was like 83 pounds, 82 pounds. I am now up to 100 pounds. I've put on all this weight in the last 6 weeks and I am so fucking excited and so thrilled because I have been laying this, I finally confronted and sat with her and addressed what the real issue was and giving her back the responsibility for herself and taking back the responsibility for myself and making that boundary, that line of, no, we're both grown-ass adults living here. We can have a meal together. That doesn't mean we have to eat the same things together, right? So if that's all it is, then say so. If you just want to sit and have a meal together, but I don't have to eat what you eat and you don't have to eat what I eat. And it has helped me clear so fucking much of the issues I was having with my own body and taking care of myself. So these are the sort of dynamics that we are dealing with. taking our power back, really standing firm. Now I realize it sounds, I sit here and I like think about like how ridiculous it sounds to fight over fucking Chinese food, right? But it's not about the Chinese food. It's about the bigger picture. It's about the energetic drain that is being put upon me, and her need to feel valuable is all contingent on me. So much codependence. But in realizing this, it's allowed me to free myself from that line of karma, peace in our relationship. Now I can kind of laugh at it, where before it would just annoy the fuck out of me and really kind of piss me off after a while. Now I just think it's fucking funny. Like, dude, how long are you going to deprive yourself of what you want? Like, I would never do that. Like, I don't do that. Like, I'm not going to not do something that I want to do because somebody else doesn't want to do it. Like, I'm going to do it no matter what. And especially with food. Like, food is a big thing for me. And I'm super excited to have, I feel like I've cleared a level. Does that make sense? Hey, Kevin, thanks for being here. I have a 13 and 14, oh wait, Melissa, I have a 13 and 14-year-old, you get it. So what I was saying, yes. So I feel like I've cleared a level. I feel like I've cleared this huge level in asserting the adult child to my mother, and allowing her to see that it isn't my responsibility at all. It is not my responsibility at all to make her feel valuable. Like, she needs to find things that give her that self-esteem, that self-worth. And that can't be my burden any longer, and is not my burden any longer. So I share this because we need to understand that there's multiple dynamics that go on in our relationships, in these karmic patterns. And my mother is definitely a karmic partner in my life journey right now. And it's not that she's bad. It's not any of that. Like, she's not a bad karmic. She's just here to challenge me to continue to rise in myself and in who I am, and allow me to clear the things that have needed to be cleared for 54 years of my life. And it's a beautiful fucking process, and it's a beautiful fucking journey, you guys. And as frustrating and as aggravating and as fucking heartbreaking as it is sometimes, it truly, like, when you get through it, when you get to the aha moments and you go, fuck, I now understand what this is all about. It's not even about the fucking Chinese food, right? It's about such a bigger thing. And it breaks, and so I sit with that, and it hurts my heart to see my mom in that space of not feeling valuable, for not having her own worth, and to continue to try to help her and encourage her to do things for herself that make her feel valuable and good, whatever that might be. But those things are not contingent upon me. And so this is it, guys. This is a huge step. This is a huge hurdle for me to have come to understand the process, to see how the dynamic in our relationship is changing, transforming. And I think it's just really funny that the day that she does fucking decide that she's gonna get Chinese food, even though she asked me again if I wanted it, which is fine, and then was annoyed when I said no, that she went to stop to get it and then she couldn't get it for herself. So I think that's a really good lesson, and hopefully it will, you know, impact her in realizing, like, don't wait for what you want. Go after what you want, and allow that to be your mission, your thing. Like, take care of you. Take care of you the best you can, and live for yourself. And I don't mean in like a selfish way. I mean in a truly honoring, like, your wants, your desires, your needs to be expressed, and not holding that back. But that's going to be my cue to wrap this up, I think, because I think I talked this whole Chinese food fucking thing to death. But my point is, we need to approach life, our lives, from not waiting on other people, not wait. So that's the other lesson in all of this, is it's not selfish to do what you need to do for you. It's not advised to just sit around and wait, twiddling our thumbs on anybody, when there are things we want and desire in our lives. And that includes parents, kids. Kids are a little harder when you have children. You know, we got to manage that a little bit differently. But significant others, romantic partners, whatever, our parents, aunts, uncles, friends, go after what you want. Allow yourself to fulfill your desires, your needs, without guilt, without the need of someone else's approval. And yeah, so I don't know, guys. I hope all of this made sense. I thank those of you who are here, who have hung with me. We've bounced up and down for up to like, I don't know, about 8 people that have been here. I am asking you guys, the other thing I did want to talk about is I posted yesterday. I would like you guys, I want to be more interactive with you guys. I want more of some ideas about things that you would like me to do videos about, Q&As, or send me questions, or we can do lives that are Q&As about any topics you guys want to talk about that I can kind of share some insight on. But I would really appreciate some feedback on that, if there are things you would like to talk about, or how you would like me to go about doing those things for you. Because I really think it's important. You know, we can focus on the twin flame journey, like, that's fine, but I'm really feeling this need to get away from doing like regular readings, especially on the twin flame dynamic, because just because that's where Spirit's taking me, is sort of not completely away from it, but just kind of giving us some other things to focus on, because there's so many things going on, and I do have a lot of ideas, but I really want to know what you guys want to know. So if you guys would share some comments, or email me, or however it is you want to get a hold of me. You guys know there's a million ways, but my email is shamamahuntingowl@gmail.com. You can also go to my website, shamamahuntingowl.com, and do a contact form there. A lot of you guys have my Skype and my phone number and all of that shit, so feel free to message me and share, you know, thoughts, insights, questions, whatever. And with that, I am going to get the hell out of here and let you guys go have your day. So thank you for being here with me, you guys. I love you so much, so very fucking much. I'm going to go eat lunch now, because talking about all food, even though it's Chinese food, that's not what I want. I'm going to go eat something because I'm starving. And I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you so fucking much. And we will really talk again soon. Mwah. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. How do I shut this off? I'm trying to leave. I don't know how to turn it off. Hang on. How the fuck do I do this? You got, wait, no. I don't know. Bye, guys.